Maybe change to a minor key. Do something a little more ominous and happy. Harmonics are beautiful. Honestly, brother, not a clue, not the style and piano skills. Yo, thank you so much. The harmonics. I'm actually not familiar with what the. If you mean the what is it? The how is it referring to piano? It's like the bass. I think the treble. Treble is up here. So if you mean like the higher realms, the treble, I'm actually more of a guitarist. I've only been doing piano for about 2 years now, so I'm honestly not sure what harmonics are, but if I recall correctly, this is a lot. I think I'm in the A sharp minor key. And I'm just going up multiple octaves. And I'm switching a key at some point when I'm going in more to. That's like Attack on Titan. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just improvising, I don't know, a bunch of stuff with the scales, but I'm doing a lot of stuff where I'm blending in dimensions of like Last Samurai, Attack on Titan theme, stuff that's just in my head where I'm just like, okay, this is a good scale, and then just kind of making it my own. Truthfully, I'm not that familiar with the chords I'm using. If this was a guitar, I could explain exactly what chords I'm using. Can you try using the pedal? Honestly, never tried using the pedal whatsoever. So let's see, how does the pedal even work? I have no idea how the pedal even works. Yeah, I gotta look into that though. I think the piano would be, or the pedals would be a phenomenal addition. Yo, thank you, much love. Right now I'm just kind of playing, it's like cathartic. Playing what feels really good. I've also been playing piano a lot the last couple weeks, just constantly. So it's very, very in my element right now. What I've been doing a lot though is, the thing I've been experimenting a lot with is naturally using the full range of the C major scale. So just really focusing the major scale, which I've been seeing a lot of beauty in. But it sounds very like harrowing and melancholic. Has so much depth though. Especially love, there's like a lot of classic songs, like, what's it called? I think it's Gymnopedia. That song and like various, like very beautiful songs are surely in this scale, so, or in this key. And a lot of Attack on Titan songs too, transposed into piano. don't know if you guys are familiar with Attack on Titan, where there's one song when Reiner and Bertolt, they transform. Not to spoil anything, but the song, it's called Big Girl, which is like a weird title, but that's what, the composer named it. And it's basically referring to the female Titan. And that song is really beautiful. Like, it's the weird, like, or the really powerful orchestra song that's played when, Berthold and Reiner, they transformed for the first time. I've been trying to get that melody down. It's kind of, I'm just trying to feel it by ear. It's like, how's it go? It goes down like to this octave. Something there. I messed that up quite a few times, but that's like, the basis of the melody. Yeah. With the notes, we'll continue to sound. It sounds really good, though. I think holding some of the pedals makes the notes, yeah, it's the sustain pedals. I'm sort of familiar with the concept, but she's saying I just hold it. Okay, so it's still going. Still going. So I'm holding the sustain pedal, and it's sustaining. Okay, so it's still going. So if I were to play it without the sustain pedal. Sounds the same. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I gotta do like multiple. I don't know. Yeah, it seems like maybe these sustain pedals are kind of botched. Yeah, what's good? What's good? I do play piano quite frequently. The last 2 years, I'm primarily a guitarist, but I've been lending all the theory that I understand from guitar to piano. Yo, that's dope as fuck. Just released one of my longest videos. I mean, the caveat is, long is not necessarily better, but of course, like, I commend you entering the realm of creating, like, a beautiful, lengthy content experience. Like, in my experience, it's like, I was kind of speaking this the other day, is success in long format, and of course YouTube as a whole, is obviously, what's the word? CRM, or click rate. So it's basically the amount of how frequently a person watches the video and how long they stay. So if it's like, the one thing that you might want to keep in mind is if you make a video, because I've done this before, of course, myself, is I release videos that are like 8-10 minutes long. And if people only watch for like 2 minutes, that negatively impacts how the algorithm will deliver it. But it'll sound good. I guess so. I guess maybe it's just it's a very subtle nuance. I kind of hear it there. what a beautiful addition. I can definitely hear it on the low notes. That is weird. Wow, I've never experimented with that. When did you got genius at piano? I don't know. I think I've always been good at piano, strangely. Like, I never played piano for most of my life, and then I just applied basically what I do. And this is, I think, really a really powerful thing to understand with understanding music is the reason I can play piano the way I play piano is because I'm basically applying all the chords that my ear understands on the guitar. So I'm basically using the piano as a experimental way of layering the same way I played the guitar. And of course, the piano has unique parallels. Like I can stretch out notes. I can do, multiple notes with multiple sevens, multiple nines. Like I can do stuff that I can never do on the guitar. And I think that strengthens my ability to songwrite, being like, oh, I can. But I think truthfully, if the question is like how I understand piano, how I think I see myself successfully play it and improvise it, is actually, if you understand triads, it's literally like the piano is all made up of just triads, right? Triads, adding sevens, adding nines. It's basically, if I were to be simple, it's threes, sets of three. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can uniquely blend all those together. And then the secondary part is what's so beautiful with the piano is cadence, right? You have this unique ability to very gently dial in cadence. Very unique cadence and rhythm comes into play. Stuff that you can't necessarily do on the guitar. It's like, yeah. But even strangely enough, adversely to that, the same thing actually is on a guitar. When you say do harmonics, like you can play a chord and then you do tapping on top of it and then you do harmonics on top of that. That's actually something you can't access on the piano. But vice versa, there's just such unique parallels. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, damn. No, I don't. Whoa. I don't want to add effects to my stream. All right, we are live once again. So, I don't want to add effects. I don't want to add stream filters. Beautiful. So that's what makes it good. Yeah, I believe it will do well also. And it is that I believe it will do well also. Yeah. And again, like this is the thing, I personally have been reflecting on a lot is I've actually had this idea where I'm going to create long format content that I'm going to purposely create a very elaborate intro. So what I'm going to do is I'll basically do like videography where I do maybe some beautiful angles of the forest, beautiful angles of the river, and create like an original intro riff that will be for the long format content. So basically people will click on this video and they'll get this little like almost like videography type, what's the word? Like a B-roll at the start of the video. So then the first 15 seconds, they'll be just hit with this beautiful little intro. I think I'm gonna work on doing that, getting very experimental. Thank you, brother. Didn't know you played it. Keep up. Thank you. Thank you so much, Path. I deeply appreciate that. Piano is a very cathartic instrument for me. Like it's kind of like, I just it really hits me in a very unique way where I can switch off the mind and just create something very beautiful. Oh yes, and the other thing I would say in relation to how I noticed myself apply what I understand from guitar to piano is actually the roll. You may understand in like fingerstyle guitar, right? When you say play a chord, there's this thing, and I learned this from playing Annie McKee's music, where instead of doing a pluck where you just go 1 2 3 4 5 6, you basically use your fingers. So you go 1 2 on the thumb, and then 3 4 5 6. So you're basically going like in this kind of shape. You're going 1 2 3 4 5 6, or 1 2 3 4 5 6, where you're getting very fluently rolling the fingers. It's finger style. You're doing like staccatos and rolls and all those things. And how that applies to the piano is you can actually do a similar thing. Because also in finger style, you can mix up arpeggios where you're going like 1 2 3 4, 1 1 2 3 4, or 1 1 1 2 3 4, or whatever or I don't even know how it'd go. 1 2 1 2 1 2, maybe 3 4. But the idea is you can basically mix up that same tendency that you do on the guitar, finger style, on the piano, where it's like instead of going like as you would on the guitar, you have a singular chord and you go 1 2 3 4, where you're rolling with one hand. You're actually rolling with both hands. So I can go like, so that's just right there. I did like a miniature roll, and I can do the same thing. Instead of going like 1 2 3 4, I can go 1 4 3 2 or whatever, and then I can do basically what I'm saying is you can do fingerstyle rolls with both hands that you would do in acoustic fingerstyle, but on the piano you do this, and that's just basically me doing a version of a roll on a horizontal plane. It's the same way that you see piano players. They often do double-handed tapping arpeggios, like ichikanito, where they're transferring their shaping and structures from how they play the piano to the guitar. Something that I actually haven't done a whole lot. Like, see, all of that, basically, when I did this roll, if you can kind of see, is literally just me being like, let's just do the same sort of thing in a fingerstyle roll. It'd be like 1 2 3 4, but I'm going like one, and I can't even explain what I'm doing because I'm not as, tuned in. It'd be like 1 on the left hand, and then I go 2 on the right hand, 2 on the left hand, and then I can go 3 on this hand, maybe 4 4 3 2, repeat. And it's actually the same motion that I'm doing sometimes when I'm doing double-handed tapping, where I'm going like 1 tap 2 1 2 1 1 2 1 2 4 1 2 3 4. It's just very random, right? But it's very multi-dimensional. Anyways, let's refresh the comments. I think I kind of left you guys hanging. Feels different in the ending, calming. Thank you, brother. Can you play Journey on the piano? Honestly, I'm a guitarist primarily. I have very limited awareness of improvising. I mean, I'm not a cover artist in general, but yeah, I can't play on the piano. Journey. Like, I think I know what Journey is, right? It's like, dun, 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 dun. Like that one song is Journey, but yeah, I have no idea. What other instruments can you play? Primarily the electric guitar, acoustic guitar, pan flute, piano, of course the violin bow on the guitar, so technically violin, but not really, and vocals. That's kind of like my realm. And I also can play like little instruments, like the kalimba. I can play like the drum, tongue drum, You know, it's like a lot of instruments, once you learn the guitar and once you learn the piano, basically those two instruments lend to pretty much any instrument you can imagine, where it's just like, yo, what's good? What's good? Do I play by ear? Yes. I'm playing strictly by ear. It's all improv, yeah. The sustain pedal is very cool. Causes notes to continue playing after you take your fingers off the keys. Yeah, that's really cool, brother. I appreciate you guys. I've truthfully never used the sustain pedal. I can kind of hear like the overtone. And if I like, imagine if I like, what's the word? Like, flutter. That's like a vibrato. So I take off the keys and I just let it. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's crazy. That could do some amazing stuff. I really want to learn to play it. I ordered a 61 key piano, learn as a beginner. Where do you suggest I take a course from? Wow, I mean, wow. Personally, I'll be honest, I've self-taught myself all by ear on the piano. I honestly don't know what to recommend personally at understanding how to learn a piano, but truthfully, like if we just observe, you're like, okay, I'm a beginner to music. Maybe you understand guitar to some degree, right? Piano is a very entry-level friendly instrument, right? Because if you need to, have a little bit of a breakdown, the white keys are the major scales, right? It's the C major primarily. Like you start, I don't know what exactly the, right? It's just left to right, right to left. That's a scale, which is not typically how music works. I mean, guitar or whatever. It's like you have to intricate. Like the C major scale on the guitar is very different, as is the E major scale, and as is like everything. It's like everything. You have to like section it primarily, but the piano is very unique where it basically simplifies the patterns. So if I were you, what I would offer, yeah, maybe look into an instructor. If you're completely new to music, yes, I would highly recommend looking into some beginner-friendly tutorials of understanding the piano, because it's not necessarily about, say, learning music. I mean, if you want to learn certain songs, then be my guest. But I would say how I like to look at the piano, like this is basically how I look at the piano, is major scale, right? I can do triads, right? Or a triplet, like a triad, right? I'm doing 3 notes. And this is a good way to begin, is like you're in the major scale, you know that you're in the major scale, you can basically go, where's the next triad? Well, there's the next triad. That sounds kind of nice. You can add like a 7th or a 9th. But it's like you're basically in piano on an entry-level basis. You're literally just creating arrangements of triplets. Like that, triplet. Triplet. Triplet with like a little addition. It's like, the idea is once you understand the major scale, you may be like, okay, maybe I don't want to do the major scale. You want to do the minor scale. And the most fundamental minor scale is basically using all the black keys, but then also sectioning some of the white keys. And it's very simple once you understand it. It's like, this is, like it's like there's a very select few section of white keys that allow you to transition through. I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, the A sharp minor scale. That's the one I at least do on the guitar that I blends with this. But this is the scale. So it's like you basically have to have a recognition that the white keys, you're creating triad scales or triad patterns. And what I do here is, this is not a entry-level thing, but because I play the guitar, I'm able to use 2 hands. Like basically one hand is my rhythm, and then the other's lead. It's like bass treble, as the pianists say it. So I'm doing one hand that's rhythm, one hand that's like rhythmic treble or rhythmic bass, and this is more lead, as the guitar would be, or treble. And eventually you'll notice, because all I'm doing is, obviously there's multiple octaves. There's 7 keys, 7 notes in a scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the beauty of the piano, is you have all the octaves laid in front of you. So if you're playing in this major scale, you're basically having repeating keys, or repeating, scales over and over and over again. You have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 octaves, right? So eventually what I'm doing is I'm basically just playing the same octave, right? I'll play the same notes in the low section, and then I'll find them up here. Like, okay, that's a beautiful complementary piece, which is the same note right there. Like, that's the same note, that note. And then I can take the same note, so yeah, I think having just an awareness of how to play around with triads in the major scale, that's your entry level position, I would say. And if you want to get a little more bold, you can surely be like, okay, let's go into the minor scale, which is involving most of the black keys, but some of the white keys. Like right there, I'm using 2 black or 2 white keys, and then I'm using these 4 black or 5 black, whatever I'm trying to. Like, that's why I find piano is so entry level, is piano is not necessarily about like complex layers of scales and notes. I mean, it can be, but piano is literally just patterns, which obviously all music is, but it's simple patterns. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4. It's just like, it's such easy patterns that you're just layering down 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And once your mind, like your ear, basically becomes trained, because the thing that separates someone that's like laying down these patterns with no awareness of like someone that doesn't think about it, and that didn't sound terrible, it didn't sound good, is ear training. Like, your ear basically has like an internal mechanism where it knows that, this is musically sound, like, that's compositionally sound. Or like, it's just like a part of how you perceive music, where you hear songs and then suddenly you're like, oh wow, that sounds almost like a song that I know, and then you just that's just beautiful, right? And that's just like nothing necessarily. Great, thanks for the tips to subscribe. Yo, thank you, brother. That's actually probably the first time that I've tried to that I've just tried to be like, hey, let's break down the piano for someone that's curious. But it makes so much sense, right? Because that's how I taught myself. Like, I've only been doing piano for about 2 years, right? But I've been doing guitar for 16, probably coming up 17. So my ear understands music. Like, it's almost like on an intuitive level. When I was new to piano, I wasn't thinking of what is a scale, what is the minor, what is the major. All I thought of was either yes and no. It's like, is this a yes? Yes, that is a yes. Or is this a no? If you like did something like that's a different scale, that would be like. I mean, you can integrate it, but it's very simple. It's like, is it truly just a yes or a no in that regard? Are you able to play anything fast? I mean, sure, but I'll be perfectly honest. Like, this is my bias to Floyd, is like, I don't think piano sounds very good fast. Like, I'll be honest, it kind of, when we're talking about like, maybe we're talking about, what's it called? Blues or bluegrass? Yeah, I remember like bluegrass or jazz, where you're like doing like, I don't even know what the hell that was, but the idea, I personally play piano very slow and progressive and methodical, where if it does become fast or dynamic, it's got to slowly build. I'm not trying to create speed. Like, speed, higher tempo piano, for me, it just doesn't sound very good. I mean, maybe we're talking about like Mozart or something. Mozart clearly is a refined piano player, where he can play like, where it's going over the map and it's still melodic, and that's not easy to do. I'll be honest, that's probably why masterful piano players are considered so good, is because they're able to like make something that is also unique and uniquely rhythmic, but also sounds really good melodically. Yeah. Happy birthday. Sick, dude. Yeah, happy birthday, brother. Yeah, it's like it's the same way where like I'll be perfectly honest, like obviously guitar is a completely different instrument. It's like a when you hear metal and like math rock, you know, Tim Henson and like Ichika Nito maybe, it's like they can like shred and still make it sound sort of melodic, but it's a slippery slope. The second they get fast without any actual like deeper context, it can get lost very quickly where it's basically like they're basically just trying to make sound for the sake of making sound. And to me, that doesn't sound very good. I mean, it sounds Tim Henson, he's a brilliant composer. So, truthfully, he's very good at like layering these things and making them actually sound good. But that's also cuz he spends like hours upon hours if not days taking chords and arranging them very intentionally and eventually he builds it up to a point where it sounds good when it's at a high tempo. But it's truthfully the highest tempo I go with piano is probably like it's just like little brief blips and bursts of like energy that's flowing through. But yeah, super fun though. I love the piano so much. Where do I think we're going to now grab ourselves? My cat is just so zen right now. Just take this camera here and go to my studio and play some guitar. Because, yeah, life is too short not to rock the guitar. Plus, it's nice to sort of have the sort of controlled atmosphere. Like, I feel like, obviously, in my room and my studio, there's a lot more ability to play around with experimental sounds. You know, just like really just keep it real. Where it's like when I'm in the piano room, that's like the living room. There's like people flowing through it. There's like lots of people and stuff going on. Brilliant. Yeah. That kind of sucks. I'm still, unfortunately, still fighting this kind of weird cold that kind of comes in weird waves, but happy to just be present here. Happy to just kind of objectively reflect. I actually purchased my guitar today. Yeah, it's officially in the mail. My Ibanez Red Eclipse Burst RG something. What's it called? Ibanez RG4 70 PB dash REB Standard 2024 present Red Eclipse Burst 5. That's gonna be super dope. Feel pretty blessed to finally have another electric guitar coming my way. Oh shit, I need to actually get some batteries. One sec. 1 second. Give me a moment, so. Let's flip that on. Though, there's actually a couple interesting sort of advancements. Yeah, I bought this baby. You probably can't see it. So, yeah, the quality's dog shit on that. And it's reversed. Where's a better picture? It's an Ibanez. This baby. This guy. Looks even more beautiful in person. Like, I've actually seen the in-person model. It's like a rich, dark red. Yes. It's gonna be, brothers and sisters, it's gonna be the next level of evolution. I'm hyped. I'm actually super hyped. I've been looking and researching this guitar for multiple months, basically since I broke my other guitar. I mean, I didn't break it, but it broke. The universe broke it. But I don't know, I've had that guitar for 11 years, and I'll probably get that Jackson fixed at some point. But yeah, it's high time I got myself a new guitar, so here we go. Gonna be shredding some crazy guitar acrobatics in the next week. I mean, I haven't played an electric guitar for like 2 months too, so I'll probably be rusty for a little bit, but it's gonna be exciting. It's exciting times, and what's crazy too. Hope YouTube is covering the cost. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's officially paid off by by Facebook Meta commercial. That's what bought me this guitar actually. I did a Facebook Meta commercial in December. Basically in December, yeah. I was doing a commercial for Facebook. It's a really weird commercial, but that I got paid like really good for that. I made just over $1,000 for that. So I was like, all right, that grand is going to a new guitar. And then so it is. Yeah. Also, the new video just came out. Sorry about my best performing ever. That's awesome, dog. I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Honestly, we all can succeed. We can all succeed. Like, that's the beauty of YouTube. Like, sort of an unspoken dimension where it's like I speak of this actually a lot in many different performance creative modalities, is yeah, there's no reason why we can't all succeed. Like the idea of like competition and like, it's you versus me or some sort of weird parallels, kind of an illusion. Like, in the larger picture, we actually can all succeed. There's no reason. But yeah. Anyway, obviously we all have different divine timing for the ways we succeed, but I think that's that's dependent on our efforts, our conscious devotion to certain things. And that takes time. But yeah, and it's also crazy. I had a hat, a really trippy, like almost like 80s rock star hat, handmade, that basically matches my guitar that I just purchased. It's like a dark, rich, red, acid washed, distressed top hat that's shortened, that kind of just looks really super dope. And I'm picking that up today. So I'm very excited that I'll have a new hat. Yeah. Gonna go pick up this new hat. Thank you. Hard work pays off. It does. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't even begun to like really like scratch the surface, but what I've been really excited about is my vision is in about 3-4 weeks. That's when I think I can get monetized. That's when I think 3-4 weeks, if I can stream at least twice a day, continue the momentum I'm getting, then I can unlock 4,000 watch hours. Like that's the goal. In probably about 2 weeks, I'll hit 3,000. 4 weeks, I think I'll hit 4,000. And then I'll officially become monetized where I'm making ad revenue for every stream, which is pretty tight because I love making streams. I've loved the process. I've just been enamored with making streams. So to think that I could just put out even higher quality streams, really build this community even more, but then also start to receive income, that's surreal. Like it feels like I'm living on a different world or a different planet. It's super cool. Anyways, music power. I don't know if you guys ever played Tony Hawk Underground, but they had the best intro ever. It's so cool though. I find, just sessions like I did before, right? Where I was playing piano for like a solid, I don't know, while. The piano can teach us so much about playing guitar. This is what I've noticed. It's like the piano very actively. It's like, say you play a chord progression, right? You can play a chord progression like, say this, where you're like, this is kind of cool, right? That's pretty dope. Something like that, right? But if you're, say, taking a page from the piano, you're like, okay, how can I break down this riff like I would, say, if I were to play the piano? The piano is all about cadence. It's about progression. Lost that a little bit. Whoa. messed up the scale. But very actively, it's beautiful to see that direct correlation where the piano invites us to embrace the subtle nuances, embrace progression, embrace like repeating progressions. Interesting. I think I'm in a different key, alternate key. Word. There we go. I really like that. I really like that. I appreciate you so much, though. Appreciate you, Xavier. Ah, man, what a mindfuck. What's good, brother? What's good? Welcome, Deshaun. Interesting. There we are. Okay, now we're officially in tune. Welcome to this live stream. This is what we need, though. This is what we need to blend. 67. I'm assuming that's a meme, but honestly, I never got on the 67 meme train. So, yeah. Don't spam the chat though. Don't spam the chat. Or I'll have to ask you to leave. Do 6/7. I don't think I've ever had someone ask me to do 6/7. That's 6/7. I don't know what to tell you. That sounds horrible. That sounds horrible, bro. Why would you want me to do 6/7? Yeah, that sounds like dog shit, man. I don't know. I think I'll stick to improv. Right, yeah, this is the tone wood amp that you're hearing, yeah. It's actually a very unique preamp that basically makes it so you're stretching out the natural resonance pattern. Whew. I am wicked dehydrated. I think I actually need to flip this down a little bit and master it. Just a little bit. Oof. That attack was not natural. You hear that though? That like wicked explosion of sound that sounded like garbage? That's what happens when you mess up a... That's what happens when you really mess up a pinch harmonic. It's kind of bizarre. Like, I hit these accurately all the time, but when you mess it up, it really sounds really fucked. Like, if I were to try to do it again, like that's a messed up pinch harmonic. That sounds like trash. It's a very high stakes game, but it sounds beautiful. Dude looks like Heath Ledger. Yo, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I'm on here and Yogi. Beautiful. Yeah, that's dope. I checked out Yogi. That guy seems dope as fuck, honestly. In the future, I definitely would love to reach out and see if he'd like to do a collaboration, because... Whoa, no, I don't want to watch shorts. But I feel like him and me have very similar, I'd say, philosophical contexts. Like, in such a way, it's like... I actually recently... This is a book that I purchased recently, well, today. But I actually read this book. About 40 pages of this book. So about here. This is where... I had a friend. She lent me this book. Life-changing book. This is actually a book I've spoken of. Joe Dispenza. It's Becoming Supernatural. Very beautiful book. It's basically a metaphysical philosophy book that also speaks about, like, the brain, sort of like neuroscience, energy dynamics, all these beautiful, beautiful things. Extremely powerful book. It's a lot to do also with your beliefs, the belief system, understanding the quantum, which I speak of very actively on this channel. It's understanding how to understand what quantum particles are, and how, when we really look at the world as it is, in the infinite sort of parallels of the quantum, we can begin to understand, like, how actually reality works, and how manifestation works. Dude looks like Heath Ledger's got some good thoughts. Facts, yeah. It's very deep. It goes very deep. I was just thinking about this as I was falling asleep last night, where I was, like, thinking about, like, my objective. If you're familiar with this channel, you've been here for a while, basically this channel started as a busking project. Like, the whole birth of this channel was basically because I started busking, and I developed a very devoted busking project about a year and a half ago. And that's what birthed this channel. But, yeah, long story short, how was I going to connect this? That from the busking tree. Oh yes, basically what I was reflecting on is, it's crazy to think, fast forward, a year. It's actually been about 7 months that I've had this channel live, right? About a year ago, I had this idea of, like, what, I'm going to put myself on the universe, really develop my performance act, really push myself out of my comfort zone. And it's crazy to think that what live streaming is becoming. Like, say, when I unlock monetization in the next few weeks, and then I'm able to, say, receive, ad revenues, tips, and whatever, right? To think that I've somehow, within several months of hard work, basically developed the ability to busk virtually, but also have, like, philosophical conversations, teach guitar, hold space for meditative journeys, all in one powerful platform. Like, this blows my mind that this is the reality that I'm able to create. So anyways, I'm just saying, I'm super grateful, extremely excited for what's to come. To think that I can just put out this performance, put out this music, and let this connect with people like I would in the real world via busking. But the thing with busking is you're sitting there in your own world half the time. You know, you have strangers walk up to you and be like, wow, I'm so happy with what you're doing, or keep doing it, you're killing it, brother. But most people, they're off in their own world. But the beauty of this YouTube stream portal is it's like you can busk, you can put out music, you know, you can connect with resonance patterns to the universe, but then you can also do so much more. And that honestly makes me so grateful to be alive when we are alive. Like, what an extraordinary thing. It's like a world of projections. Actions is and is our reality. Our reality. It goes so deep, my friends. Like, yeah, you guys get it. The community, I think, at large, like a massive majority of this community, I think they 100% understand like these deeply woven concepts. Because obviously, this is also in modern 2026. We're in an extraordinary time where we're bridging worlds between modern medicine and metaphysics, and that's basically what this book is basically doing. It's a doctor, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's a physician who also became, you know, a metaphysical, I guess, expert, if you will. He spent his life to heal his own spinal injury. He literally studied metaphysics and learned how to bridge the worlds between modern medicine and metaphysics. And now that's his entire life work. It's extraordinary stuff. But long story short, yeah, we're in an extraordinary time where our perception of modern medicine and healing modalities is rapidly evolving. And this is also the exact words of what Joe Dispenza says. I mean, I'm paraphrasing it a bit, but the core essence of it is recognizing how much ability we have to change our reality and our minds by understanding the relationship that our body has to our mind, our psychological body, our neurological body, our physiological body, our energetic body. These are all intrinsed. Anyways, it's all in this book. It's all in this awesome book. I'm kind of just paraphrasing and expanding what I've learned from it. And it's beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's exciting stuff. We're still warming up here, but we're feeling good. Make your guitar sound like violin. I'm using, this is a Picasso bow. Yeah, Picasso bow. At least that's what the Kickstarter project was called. Now you can just search violin bow on Amazon and purchase this. It's very delicate though, I must say. Like, you have to basically treat it like a regular violin bow. You gotta use a lot of high quality rosin. You gotta sand down the rosin. Like, this is actually violin rosin from the audio. And then you apply the rosin. And with a little bit of reverb or just like a little bit of a preamp setting like I have here, it makes a very effective, like a cello. And of course, I've actually made videos on this, but the violin bow or the Picasso bow itself, it actually has technique that you have to apply. Like, that is, you basically have to find the exact sweet spot. There's like a perfect balance. It's similar to actually like a pinch harmonic, where, you know, pinch harmonics, there's a sweet spot, right? These are all sweet spots where harmonics are present, where the tension point is balanced, and that's the same thing with the Picasso bow. But yeah, then altogether, when you execute it, it sounds really dope. Yeah. Yes. Understanding fear and desire as a lack. Yeah. It's an interesting thing, you know. I've been posting a lot on my streams, you know, Osho quotes. Osho has a very beautiful, beautiful perception of fear. You know, he has books that he writes about it. really just openly expressing sort of like the philosophical nature of fear and how we penetrate it, how we can like basically learn to see through it. And even just stepping outside of Osho's perspective, wow, I really feel like for some reason this ball really just like attracts the algorithm. Like people just see this ball and they just I mean, it kind of works the same way in the real world. Like if I bring this for whatever reason, if I'm like on a dance floor or just like hanging out a SkyTrain, people just like walk up to me and are just like, "Whoa, like what's this guy doing? Like who is this dude? What's happening here?" It's great. Works the same way in the real world. It's like, why is this guy sitting here just spinning this ball and doing all these weird illusions? It's a good question. It's a good question. I would ask the same. That's the one spot. That's the one spot that I swear, the third string, higher realm, like 12 and beyond, it's tricky to access that on the Picasso bow. At least it's just not what I focus a lot. Damn, I really need new speakers. Actually, probably today or tomorrow, I'm just gonna buy some beautiful new speakers, so the sound quality is actually gonna sound even better. Yeah, exciting stuff. I'm excited. Music. You're not very good at this, bro. Bullshit some now and then. Super confused. Let's go back to the comments so we can make some sense. Make these things make sense, friends. You can change your neural pathways and rewire them. Absolutely, body. Appreciate you here, brother. Maintaining the fullness. Very nice. I'm missing the fear and lack of desire. Yo, thank you, P-Dub. Appreciate that, brother. I'm a reflection of you, so you're dope as fuck. Sprinkling of love for anyone who needs it today. Bless. You're incredible. Thank you. Yeah. I think we've successfully acquired a troll here. Yeah, Governor Troll. Something about washing stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure. RIP, R.I.P. Dinero, Emmanuel, Gamer. You would love that song, I promise. With some kind of play that I would love this song. Interesting. I'll have to look into this guy. I'm not sure if the homie is referring to myself expressing the N-word. I'm 1000% sure mistaken. I do not use racial slurs, clearly. Yeah. Appreciate you, Jay. Appreciate you, brother. bass sounds good, but it's almost like a little bit overwhelming, I would say. The fullness of God, we are aligned with music vibration through movement. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Movement through vibration. I find out often when I'm not playing guitar, I'm very actively just moving energy through movement. Interesting. I just got a melodic idea that just really seems to make sense. Remembering remembering to honor your somatic body. Letting yourself feel into your felt experience, honoring your emotions, honoring the energy that arises. Letting yourself be with this all, letting yourself be a neutral entity within the stream of consciousness that you are. And we are just raw modes of consciousness flowing through this human experience. You are the raw energy, the light behind your being. Are you wearing a Flower of Life shirt? Yes, sir. I love the bell too. Yeah, this is actually Sacred Geometry my friend gave me. Very special shirt. Yeah. I'm gonna delve into this book for a moment here. Kind of just speak some of the pieces. Interesting. A lot of like science, neurological based stuff here. Trying to find the philosophical pieces. So as Joe Dispenza says in this book here, page 46, when your attention and therefore your energy is divided between all these outer world objects, people, problems, and issues, there's no energy left for you to put on your inner world of thoughts and feelings. So there's no energy left for you to use to create something new. Why? Because you think and how you feel literally creates your personal reality. So therefore, if you are thinking and feeling equal to everything that you know, that is the known, you keep reaffirming the same life. In fact, we could say that your personality is no longer creating your personal reality. Now your personal reality is creating your personality. So your external environment is controlling your thoughts and feelings. There's a biological match between your inner world of thoughts and the feelings of your outer world, the past-present reality, made of people, objects, and certain times and places. You are continuously keeping your life the same because you are keeping your attention, your thoughts, and your energy, your feelings, the same. So finally, if how you think and how you feel broadcasts an electromagnetic signal that influences every area of your life, you are broadcasting the same electromagnetic energy, and your life never changes. We could say that your energy is equal to everything in your past-present reality, and you are recreating the past. That's not only limitation that occurs. Yeah, that is not the only limitation that occurs, though. When you place all of your attention and energy on the outer world, you keep reacting to the same conditions in the same way, in a state of chronic stress, which causes the brain to be in a constant state of arousal, of course. Your inner world becomes imbalanced, and your brain begins to work inefficiently. And then you become less effective in creating anything at all. In other words, you become a victim of your life instead of the creator of your life. Page 46. Beautiful reminder, beautiful reminder. I like a lot of Joe Dispenza's work, but his retreats have many negative feedback. Yeah, I have to say, definitely, I was actually speaking about this with my partner the other day, because she was reading Joe Dispenza's book too. I recommended this one. I agree with Joe Dispenza's study, his core thesis makes so much sense. I can't say him as a person, like his approach on maybe meditation, maybe even the place that he's taking his retreats. I don't know. I'm not sure how integral that is. It's just low key. It's kind of a cult. It's very cult like. Maybe it's like a cult that's meditative and is changing and helping people's lives, but it's a cult nonetheless. So I don't know. I think his work sort of is one to be studied. I don't know if his lifestyle and his himself or his embodiment of his lifestyle is necessarily one to follow, but I don't know. I'll be honest, for many years I was very resistant to Joe Dispenza's work. Like I didn't like sort of a lot of the initial pieces of him, but his core truths, like when you read some of the things he's talking about, beautiful. It's very well worded, and it's not necessarily even his original thoughts. These are like well-studied things that he is kind of encapsulating and trying to just, bring to the masses. Ooh, that's a very high attack. Flip off this here. Wicked. 1.12K. Very beautiful. Analytics. Yes, above is so below. I deeply agree with that. It's, yeah. Subconscious. Beautiful subconscious. When I was very new to this channel, around the time when I created this channel, I would often actually just randomly say Sigmund Freud quotes, because I was watching, the TV show Freud. And I was just very enamored with that, the analogy of a house. Sigmund Freud saying, like, his little poetic sort of philosophical thing about how we are a house, and then he's like talking about the subconscious. I always found that very, very beautiful, very fascinating. When I tap on my electric guitar, when I do finger tapping, it sounds like a flute. Buckethead beyond the knowing. That's very interesting. Yeah, sounds like a flute. Electric guitar is very magical, I feel like. That's why part of why I'm extremely excited to get this new Ibanez is I'm very much looking forward to dive deep into very much just like fully embracing all the nuances of a electric guitar, especially one with a Floyd Rose bridge, the floating tremolo. Getting a 6 string or 7 string. It's a 6 string, yeah. I didn't think it would like a 7 string, but it almost lets me be the bass player and the guitar player at the same time. Yeah, it's a 6 string. It's a 6 string. I'm not sure actually if they make many Ibanez's with 7. I'm sure they do, but a lot of the standard models that are 6 that are like locked tremolo bridges. The idea is though, this is the thing. This is the thing with the the Ibanez, like this baby, this one I'm getting. The idea is for this Ibanez, naturally it has a whammy bar, right? So it's got a whammy bar, and it's got a floating bridge. So basically what you can do, this is what I predict. I've actually never really played. I tried this Ibanez like a while ago, but the idea is, if you say play a harmonic, right? More ideally, like you have a guitar pick, and you're playing a harmonic, like here. You can do some crazy kind of like bend, and then you can use your whammy bar to go like, wow, like do some crazy shit with harmonics. And naturally, harmonics being my specialty, I think I could do some insane compositions and just insane playing style with this Ibanez. Like, I'm very confident that I could because I also, with my Jackson, I do tons of weird, wicked bends, like crazy, 1.5 bends and quarter bends. And I basically, when I play electric guitar, a lot of what I do is I do harmonic bends into everything. But if I could do harmonic bends and take it one further with a whammy bar, insane amount of potential. It's kind of like Steve Vai / type of playing, but even further because it's an Ibanez. So that'll be cool. Yeah, I think just creative freedom is just very beautiful. So I'm very confident with this particular type of Ibanez. I've also been researching it for a while. Yeah. So I've been getting into space weather and geophysics and seeing the correlating effects the sun has on us, the planet. Geophysics. Wow. That's really beautiful. Honestly, bro, I think about that a lot in some restraints or some regards where it's like, how we had the experience of the planetary parade, right? Those all the planets were aligned. And I remember I went with my partner and we went out and just like sat in the stars for like an hour or something, just like watching the stars and kind of just reflecting. Like I'm sitting there watching all the stars, and she had this app on her phone where she was seeing, like she could identify all the stars and the different planets. And I remember sitting there and like just being astonished, where I'm like, man, like just to see all this in front of me, like why do we not often just sit here and almost like spiritually connect, or even just scientifically connect and observe the stars? I mean, I don't know about you, I'm not an astrophysicist or like what's the word, people with like telescopes, so whatever they're called, just scientists, I guess. Or maybe astrologists, horologists, maybe that's what it is. But regardless, I think there's so much beauty that you can connect by just sitting and observing the stars, like just seeing them physically or just studying them. So I commend you. And space weather, that's not a thing I've ever thought of. But I mean, when we understand the law of one, if we ever look into what the law of one speaks of, and I spoke of this the other day when I was doing a live stream in the forest, the law of one openly expresses that we are a product of the greater the greater web of frequency and vibration that's in the universe. It makes perfect sense. It's like, the cosmos, when we zoom out, has a giant web of vibrations. And we as the earth, we're just a tiny little, fragment. We're a piece that is aligned with this cosmic web of vibrations and frequencies, right? So if we zoom out and we look at it, and some people philosophically understand, it's like we are the cosmos. We are the exact same thing as the stars. We're just a reflection of it. So if we look at it on like a beautiful, like almost, yeah, scientific level, everything that's happening, be it like solar storms, solar events, solar flares, which are affecting the vibrational patterns, affecting the frequencies that we experience on the earth, is the exact same thing that's occurring on the larger web of frequencies that is, happening in the cosmos at large. And anyways, what the law of one is expressing is what they've predicted. When they had this channel where they spoke to Ra, the Egyptian god, through this channel, Ra basically expressed that we are now moving from the 3D into the 4D and eventually into the 5D, and not the regular D that we would see as like their description of D is not the same as what we'd think like 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D. It's a different type of D. But either way, basically what that is we've been experiencing everything in the 3D, the 3D, the polar realm, it's the split, it's the three, right? It's the trifecta of things where that has what we've been transitioning out of. This is also why when we're moving into the 4D, that we as human beings are changing energetically. Our frequency is changing. Why? Because the larger web of frequencies that's in the cosmos, the universe, is also shifting. We're going through a wave. We're going through a pattern that is shifting. And what this shift is moving out of the 3D into the 4D and eventually into the 5D. And what that basically means is human beings who are attuned to the 4D, the frequency of the 4D, the vibration of the 4D, this is what is going to only last. Basically, we're in a purge, we're in a shift where 3D is shifting out. So that is why a lot of these last 100 years and beyond or way before has been so tumultuous. It's like, it's been so turmoilic, it's been so dense. It's because we as human beings are literally shifting our vibrational experience, and this has been predicted. This is what's happening on a larger scale of what the cosmos has literally shown us. So we're just a reflection. We're just a reflection of this, of the cosmos. I love to think about that a lot because it makes a lot of sense. And this is, again, the ancient Egyptians, they predicted this. The law of one expresses very openly exactly this, among various very interesting things, which I haven't actually read off. For that. Interesting. Play post-rock. No idea what that is, brother. No idea. I love Mandelbrot. Godhead stability. Interesting. Not familiar with that. Direction is of D and not of thought. And is not I had a thought of. Take the flower for pops of the direction. D. Yeah, I forget. What is it? Density. Of course, that's what it means. There's 3D as in the 3 dimensions. This is what the law of one expressed is. There's 3, 4, and 5D, as in obviously dimensions we can understand, but there's density. He was referring to, well, at least this is the conversation that Ra was having, of density. So we're moving from 3D, the third density, to 4th density, and then into the 5D, the 5th density. I don't know exactly what that means. Again, this is just what... but we can understand contextually. Yeah. pieces of God's consciousness experiencing ourselves. Yes, that's often what a lot of people express. It's like if we look at it very simply, we're just a we're a tree with all these different branches. We're all the leaves. We're all the same tree. We're from the same tree. We're from the same branches, but we're different leaves. We're all leaves that have grown from the same tree with the same branches. And the branches are our separate lives. Like our branches are our past lives. And they interweave. You know, some of us had similar correlations of understanding of who we are in our past lives, but we're ultimately all from the same tree. That's the metaphor I remember. I think it was Matthias de Stefano that used that metaphor. But that's, yeah. And the idea is the tree is God. The tree is God, like God consciousness, or whatever, not God consciousness, but it's the source. We're all that same. The tree is source. So we're not separate. We're all the same. We're all different, unique, because we're different leaves of the same branches of the same tree. But ultimately, we're all connected because we are all the same. We're all a tree. We're all a part of the tree. Even AI is gonna be on the tree. No, brother. I mean, I don't think so. That's a harrowing thought, but no, if we're following the same philosophical, like metaphysical string, if we're gonna pull the same one, no, it's like what we're talking about is the energy universe. You know, Nikola Tesla speaks about this. Um, like imagine this. I don't know. This is just an idea. Is the tree that we're referring to, that we're all connected to, is the energy universe. It's the universe that's not even like imagine, you know, if we zoom out and there's a universe that is strictly energetic beings. It's what we return to, it's what we're a part of, what we can connect to. It doesn't we can't see it. It's probably so far away, but the energy universe is what we all are a part of. At least that's what I'm going to go with. And again, it's the same thing Nikola Tesla speaks of. So I don't think AI can ever connect to the energy universe because it's not energy. It's not a raw mote of consciousness. It's just not. Yeah. I don't even think as humans we can comprehend past the fourth D. I think we'd struggle with the fourth dimension, let alone the 5D and so on. Probably, yeah. Well, that's a part of the human experience because you're correct, Bodhi. I agree that I've thought about that a lot. Is like we're humans. We see within the split. You know, we split things off. We polarize things. We're dualistic beings. You know, the 2D is dualism. 3D is the human experience, where we not only see things in dualistic, we split them into polarities. You know, it's this versus the other. That's what human beings do. That's what the earthly being, the human realm is it's a 3D realm where we are splitting off things into polarity. Why? Because polarity is how we understand the deeper depths of the higher states. You know, it's like to enlighten yourself, you have to enlighten the 3D, you know, to achieve the 4D and 5D and beyond. And obviously, you have to basically honor, understand, and truly experience the 3D in its wholeness to eventually enlighten it to the higher dimensions. Like, so yeah, it's we can't necessarily actually accurately understand it. Like even me, I'm going to talk about it and be like, let's pretend we understand these things. We only can comprehend what our human belief systems and our human conception can do, right? We're limited by our human facilities. We can try to make sense of these things, but no matter what, we cannot remove ourselves from our earthly restraints in the 3D. You know, we are polarized beings. We're going to polarize things. We're going to be like, but is this versus that? And we'll see these in the context of our human facilities, but that's not how things actually are. It's just how we as humans try to perceive them. And of course, the 4, 5, 6D and beyond is not of the human realm. These are not human concepts. So we can try to make sense of them, but we probably won't understand them. wants to be in sync and is balanced. Literally explains it all. Yeah. There's no difference between a rock and a living thing. In the book Dancing Wing Lu Masters. Word, wow. Yeah, brother. I love that. I mean, we're all just. I think it's like if we understand the quantum theory, right? It's like we are quantum particles, right? What are quantum particles as defined by Joe Dispenza and obviously defined by modern researchers? It is primarily quantum particles is 0.00001 repeated empty space, empty matter. It's formless. It's unwritten. And guess what? Everything is made up of quantum particles. And what quantum particles are, 99.999% repeated, is empty space. It's empty matter. So the mass majority, we're talking 99.999 repeated, that is empty. It's formless. It's unwritten. It's unwoven. It's not material. You know, the material is a tiny, tiny fragment. So if everything around us, you know, the rocks, the material matter, this is matter. Like, you know, all the things we can touch with our sensory experience, we could see. This is all the material world. Everything outside of the material world, which is the greater construct of what is formless. So yeah, we are the same as a rock. We are all made up of the same particles that matter is. Why? Because most of these things aren't even real. Like, we're perceiving it. We direct our energy, we make it a reality. But we're taking this idea of the 0.0001 repeated and we're making it real, even though the greater construct of everything is operating is in the quantum, is in the unknown, is in the 99.99% repeated. It's empty. It's literally just emptiness. This is all empty. This is why we are believing we're in a simulation. It's because we are. We're in a simulation because 99.99% repeated is just unwritten. It's not real. We hold on to that tiny fraction and we think it's real, but it's a beautiful thing. I think he's speaking of... I agree. It's like he's not saying that there's no difference between a rock and a living being, but the particles that we're made of are the same. Like, this has been scientifically proven, is we are made of the same particles. You know, a rock, a floating rock going through space, particles that are of dust that are floating through space is literally the exact same thing as us. Like, it's made of the same things. It's the same particle. And on a deep, deep level, most things are empty matter. You know, most things are just an empty, almost like again, it's like a simulation. And the moment that we direct it, because we are the creators, you know, we are like you and me, each of us independently, we are entities that direct energy. And then as soon as we direct the energy, we make it real. We make it real. It's just, we're like conduits. We're just conduits for raw energy. Each of us as human beings. Rocks don't have that ability, naturally. We're our souls, our energy from, say, the energy universe, or wherever we want to say it, right? That's what makes us humans, like our raw mode of consciousness. But on the deepest level, we are the exact same thing as a rock. We're the same thing as distant rocks floating through space. It's a very interesting thing, but I don't know. I agree with this. Rock decays in time and it changes. Well, that's the thing is, yeah, that's the beauty. Is what is it? I remember them talking about, what is it? There's a book I was reading. You know, it's like energy never dies. Energy never dies. It transforms. Things, they never die. They change shape. They transform. Human beings never die, right? We never die. We transform. We're raw modes of energy. We just transform into different forms. It's just like the simple thing is like, you know, how can a human being die if we're literally just raw energy that is going to transform into another raw energy thing? Of course, all that being said, it's like, I remember it was a philosophical talk between, I think it was, who was it? It was a podcast I was speaking of, and they basically said, how rare is this life? Like, if we actually objectively look at it and be like, it's actually basically such a powerful anomaly that you and I exist. Like, the fact that we exist and we are here, very powerful, very significant. And even, like, sure, we can say that energy has to be transformed, right? You know, it's like if we are energy, energy cannot die. It's going to transform into another state. But the essence of it, I remember this podcast was saying, is the fact that we as human beings, us incarnating as a being, is actually profoundly anomaly. It's rare. It's not a everyday thing. It's like, how can you even know that once you do, leave this world, your body decays? How can you know that you are going to actually manifest into another being or incarnate into another being? You could incarnate into an eagle or into, I don't know, whatever sort of being, but it's almost like this human experience, the fact that you incarnated as a human, extremely rare, extremely significant. And especially as the human that you are, it's just like such a bizarre anomaly. And I agree. I agree with what the homie was saying. Yeah. Neurons, fringe, whoa. So what are the pickups on that, on the inside of the guitar? This is actually primarily, it is a part of the guitar, yeah. It's a tone wood amp. So yeah. Tone wood amp, my man. Self-limiting beliefs are probably the worst enemy, I'd assume. I agree so much there, Bodhi. I agree so much there. I also like that name. That's a cool name, Bodhi. But yeah, brother, because honestly, I say this all the time is, yeah, a lot of people, they're not actually suffering or struggling. I mean, they are suffering and struggling, but it's almost like what they're suffering from is a profoundly limiting belief system. The second you're like, oh yeah, I can live the most radical abundant life or radically abundant life, versus someone that says, oh no, that's impossible. That's literally just a belief. Like, there's so many profoundly limiting beliefs that people literally just like hold on to. They grasp so tightly when they don't necessarily realize, just how much they're limiting themselves, how much their belief systems are malleable. They're changeable. You can change your beliefs very rapidly, but people often, for whatever reason, we try to like identify so heavily with their beliefs. And obviously it makes sense. We are often what we think we are our beliefs. We identify with them and think we are our identity. So why can't we code the pattern? We can code a human in time experiencing fear. Like, why can't we encode our DNA, do you mean? Like, down to the deepest level? The future may offer that. Actually, that's a breakthrough, is we may in the future be able to, encode the DNA of a human in a very, like, healed, almost perfected way. It's kind of a bizarre thing to think about, but I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, I'll be honest, but, like, we can basically, perfectly, what's the word? Engineer a human being, genetically. That's apparently a future thing that's going to happen. Weird to think about. I don't know if that's a good thing, but that apparently is the thing. Broke out the acoustic. Let's go. The acoustic brothers and sisters, this is what's grounding me to this world. They haven't already noticed it. It's like, everything could be falling apart. We could be having philosophical arguments and people could be like roasting me all day long, which they don't. But it's like, I'm just a guy with a guitar. Like, we're here, we're having a conversation, I'm holding space for you guys, but ultimately, I'm just a guy with a guitar and a vision. I'm just here to play some guitar. Guitars are portals. And I speak of this actually very openly, is the way I play guitar often, whether I'm like a film set or I'm on a beach or maybe I'm with a romantic partner or something, is I create guitar off of energy. I create guitar off of the energy of myself, of the people, of my thoughts, and I actually do the exact same thing with dance. Yeah. Is I basically, energetically I'm inspired from the things around me. I need to get some water. And the earth is flat, also. What is happening here? I'm sure, I think, Floyd, I know you're what's the word? You're a student of comedy. You love comedy, so that's cool, bro. keep throwing out the outrageous statements, or just keep what's the word? Throwing logs on the fire pit. It's all good, brother. We all can have opinions. We're all entitled to our opinions. Strangely enough. Entitled to our opinions. Yeah, I think that's the word I was going for. We all have opinions. It's okay. Then if somebody's mind was focused enough, did you think they could make something appear out of nowhere? Speech to text to butcher some of my words. That's fair. Oh, you're doing speech. That's cool. That's smart as fuck, bro. I mean, your words might get botched, but if you have like an AI speech to text, you can actually we can have a conversation that's not just you typing on your phone or something. That's a brilliant idea. I think atoms themselves are 99% air, not air. Just empty space. Now this makes sense on some of the typos you were saying. Just empty space, all matter. Yes. And there's matter even though we just projecting that to our subconscious. So then is matter even there? Or are we just projecting? One sec. So atoms themselves are like 99% air, not air. Just empty space. Yeah. Well, that's the same argument, philosophically or metaphysically as quantum particles. Yes, then if the 0.00001%, if we are directing all of our energy and focus, like, oh, this is real, like this desk, this is real, this phone, this is real, like, right? You and I, we're gonna agree collectively, this is real. This water bottle, this is real. Of course it is. Even if everything in this universe is conspiring us to be like, oh, wait a second, technically, no, it's not real. We are going to reinforce, it's like when we speak of this world as a reinforced hallucination. I think that was Terence McKenna that spoke about that. It's like we're living in a culturally reinforced hallucination. Now, we can say collectively, oh yeah, this is a hallucination, but we can still agree that, okay, well, if we've all agreed that this is real, then so it is, because we are the conduits that sort of like is creating things, or we're kind of like, I don't know, it goes off in many different places, but I think we can extract a lot of illusions and conceptions from that tiny fragment of what we think is real. That doesn't mean that it's more or less real, but basically we just believe it to be. If that makes sense. I'll literally explain heaven and hell through wavelengths and frequency. That's dope as fuck. We have some dope human beings in this chat, I gotta say. Like, I mean, I'm seeing this trend these last few days that, like, for whatever reason, the algorithm is like successfully bringing together some like really sick, really dope human beings. But absolutely, like, I'm enjoying what S4IN32 is saying, and of course Bodhi, like, and of course also the homie, what's his name? The other guy with, yes, Environmad. Yeah. Like, these are some very, very interesting philosophical bends. I agree with these. I like these. I like where these conversations are going. And if I'm struggling to make words, it's also because I've been sick the last day and a half. I've had some sort of weird, like, flu cold thing. So I've basically constantly just been, like, fighting off illness, but but I'm still here, baby. Mind over matter. I swear, the fact that I'm sick doesn't even process half the time. I'm just playing guitar all day. I'm just like, just playing guitar. And be like, no, I'm not sick. Fuck it. My brain can just focus on playing guitar. Just pretend I'm not sick. Just play guitar. Have you heard of the double slit experiment? The double slit experiment. There was another fellow that was in here that actually mentioned that exact thing, the double slit experiment. No idea what it is still. From the context of how he explained it, I actually do think I understand what it was. He was talking about something to do with how, what is it, we split, something to do with like splitting oxygen molecule, no, splitting a molecule, and basically it confirms our awareness of what quantum particles are. Like, that's, if I recall, again, I could be botching all this profoundly, but the double slit experiment, I remember again the context of what was being expressed. So why can't we code the pattern? Code human DNA. Oh, I'm way behind. I'm way behind in the comments. Yeah, well, double slit is just photons acting as waves. Ah. So light particles, photons acting as waves. I think I know what you're talking about, actually. I remember reading about that briefly. Long time ago. Bro, I'm so behind. I'm so behind on these. This literally explains heaven and hell, yes. Energy changes states, but I wonder why we call time at the end of all things. Will everything just become one again? I think so, Bodhi. Actually, there was someone on the stream that literally asked me that point blank. They're like, "Yo, what do you think happened at the start of the universe before the Big Bang, and what do you think happened before that?" And for whatever reason, my mind decided to like pull those threads. I'm like, I'm no astrophysicist, so this is the objective, or this is the caveat, is I'm not an astrophysicist, but if we really look at it, what happened before the universe? Like, what happened if, yeah, as if it is, so energy changes state, but I wonder what we call time. Basically, time is, if we really understand and apply quantum theory, um, yeah, the end of time and the start of time is happening all at the same time, always. The present moment's all that is, past, future's not real. Basically, the very starting and beginning of time, and again, the very ending of time, the ending of the universe, sorry, not time, the beginning of the universe, the ending of the universe is happening all at once, theoretically. Like, that seems actually to make sense. It's like somewhere on some distant plane in the universe, of course, the universe is like, time is no longer relevant. It's starting and stopping at the same time. It's living and dying. Like, it's literally just like, it's the beginning of the universe, the end of the universe is happening at the same time, which I agree with. But if we even think further, what happened before that pattern happened? Like, what happened if we zoom out further and before time was even invented, before this idea of this infinite loop of the universe starting and stopping? Honestly, I don't exactly remember what I was talking about. I remember like a while back, I went on this like 45-minute tangent of what I believe to be. But basically, yeah, what was my conclusion to that? So time, yeah, the universe is always living, it's always birthing and dying. But also before that period, oh yes, everything basically would probably exist as, people would express what the 9D is. Because, I don't know if you've ever listened to the explanation of what the 9 dimensions of consciousness are, right? It's like we have 1D. 1D is unification. We're all one, oneness. Before death, it's like you're in pure oneness. 2D is the dualistic split, which is what often, when we enter this world, we see the dualistic, with the dualism, there's polarity, it's yin and yang. 3D is polarity of how there's a dualistic split, but then there's a third piece of it that polarizes things. And then 4D is when we transcend the 3D, which is essentially also what time is. Like 4D is basically outside of time and space. I could be botching this and sound like I'm crazy, but there's 4D, and then there's 5D, which is the higher plane of consciousness, which is typically outside of the human experience. There's 6D, or the sixth dimension, which is basically, what is it? It's an awareness of the infinite nature of how we are and how we can manifest all things outside the human experience. 7D is the awareness that we are infinite and being able to influence. 8D is the ability to not only influence but create it, and then 9 is the ability to create all things always. So basically, I think it's, if we're to actually ask ourselves, what is the universe before time, before the universe was, birthing and decaying always, basically we were probably in an infinite portal of 9D consciousness, which is everything immediately just became always in any given which way. It was like this weird timeless sort of anomaly that, it's almost like if you look in a dream state, because dream states, when you're in a lucid dream, you basically enter the quantum realm, which also can apparently phase into 8D, where you basically become, or usually it's like the 6 or 7 or 8, where you have control over everything. You can create anything, you can defy reality, you can defy sensory experience, but once you enter the 9D, you are basically the infinite creator, like you are the God. You can create any given thing, worlds, thoughts, multi-sensory experiences. So I don't know, I'd assume that before we were cast in this universal, dance of the universe dying and birthing always. I'm assuming that we were in this endless limbo of 9D consciousness as we understand it. I don't know, this kind of sounds bizarre, but and it makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense. Fair enough, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I probably botched that sort of metaphysical talk, but I've talked about this many times on this channel. Like I've articulated this once or twice, and again, a lot of this, if you have any curiosity, These are all concepts that are actually explained in the law of one. The law of one, people that, refer to the law of one, like Matthias de Stefano, people that, love to connect these dots, basically talking about what our ancient ancestors were trying to connect in the Egyptian times. This is all metaphysical philosophy. This is not like, this actually is all very solidified stuff, strangely enough, if you go and read about it. And I'm basically just riffing, basically what my understanding of what these metaphysical philosophies are. Yeah. Current debate is 3D now is 3 timelines. 3D now is 3 timelines. A current debate. So we're talking about 3D, there's 3 timelines. The 3D, that is, everything is in 3D. It's length, width, height. Everything is polarized into 3 realms, never truly finding balance. So what do you mean by, so 3D is now 3 timelines? Because why? So you're saying that you think, even if we're applying that, quantum theory tells us that everything's infinite always. It's like, if I'm saying, oh, I'm going to go over there, there's a timeline where I went over there. And then, if I say, okay, I went and ran down the street, there's a timeline where I did that. Everything that you could ever imagine is happening right now. Like, even as I imagine it, there's a timeline where I'm doing these things. But you're telling me that the debate is that in 3D, we have only 3 timelines, even though, I'm curious what you mean by that, friend. 99% is nothing, then what is that 1% remaining? Am I in the United States? I'm in Canada, brother. I'm in Canada. The 99% is nothing. So the 99% is formless. It's the non-material. And then the 1%, roughly, is the material world. It's the form. It's the thing that we can identify that is form, that we see, like, I hit this table, I'm hitting the material world, right? That's a slim piece of what this is. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert on these things. I'm just kind of riffing with it, but I believe I believe it's almost like if we look at this very intangibly, right? You think about this. The reason why 1% is so significant, like the 1% of what reality is, and we're like, oh yeah, 1%, the material world, that's real. Like, that's all we think, is because we are reinforcing it so heavily. Like, this is the same, if you start to research lucid dreaming and understanding what lucid dreaming is trying to invite you to do philosophically and, of course, psychologically, basically, we as human beings, like, think about this very objectively. We are so heavily entranced in the idea of what our material world is. Like, everywhere we go, we're scrolling through this phone. The phone is a material convention. It's a creation, right? We touch this phone, we receive dopamine, our body goes through the system. Like, we are so heavily convinced. We are so powerfully convinced that the material world is real. Like, that's all that is. It's like we're basically reinforcing endlessly in our entire waking experience, unless you begin to, like, interject things like, say, lucid dreaming or altered states of consciousness, or, I don't know, transcendental meditation, or anything that allows you to access the quantum. Most of us are living in an unconscious stupor where we are so blindly convinced that the material world is real. The 1%, the 0. Yeah, it's actually 0.01 from what I remember. So it's not even 1%. It's like a very low percentage. That's like that's what the material world is, the tiny little fragment. But because we're so convinced, like, everything we do is confirming our bias that, oh yeah, this is real, this is real, this is real. Like, oh yeah, you're real, I'm real. All of this simulation, it's so real. Like, how can it not be real? That's why the 1% goes so far, is because we've reinforced it so heavily. Even though if someone were to tell you, oh, wait a second, none of this is real, you just be like, no, of course it's real. Like, how can it not be real? How can you tell me that this isn't real? But it's like, the reality is, if that was the actual truth, which is what a lot of these, like, metaphysical truths are pointing to, is, oh no, that's a tiny fragment, not even a percentage of what actual things are. And we just believe it so heavily that, oh no, that 1% is real. The 99%, that's actually the greater construct, that's manifesting everything, that's unraveling everything. We don't even have that on our radar. Like, we barely even process, barely even acknowledge its existence. And that's the kind of weird, bizarre reality we live in 2026. It's the vibration that manifests in material. Time is not man-made. Hmm. 1% is the string vibration. Ah. It's the vibration that manifests in material. Yes, time is not man-made. Time is just the observing things changing. Yeah. I mean, I've never actually said, I've never actually heard that time was man-made. Like it's, we perceive time, but yeah, I guess maybe I did say at some point, maybe our, that we make time. Yeah, time is a man. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think time is like a man-made thing. Like we created it, we perceive it. Like we are the ones that think that time is real. We think it's like the core thing, but obviously it's, time is like this kind of perception. I don't know. Not a thing. I think that's a very amazing introduction to this conversation. Let's see. So I did that on DMT and ketamine. Took 3 hours, but it worked. So I can do some alchemy. Last I made my friend get 200K and my woman a visa. DMT and ketamine. Wow. I mean, DMT, I could see this. Honestly, I think ketamine's, I speak of this very openly. I don't do ketamine. Haven't since I was like 16 years old. Incredible compound, like neurologically beautiful compound. But let's try to stray away from talking about things like illicit substances or, what's the word? Yeah, unregulated substances. Like, 'cause I think that can actually affect the nature of my streams. Because YouTube doesn't like, but we can speak about code word code word slang word K. But but absolutely, yeah, I agree. Is like in an altered state of consciousness when you start to like open your perception, via DMT, via altered states of consciousness, that allows you to engage with the non-material, the quantum. Yes, you can begin to pull these threads to actually see how malleable this universe is. To actually see that, oh, wait a second, this world is a lot more formless than a lot of us think it is. And a lot of us were so heavily fixated on that 1%, which is the material world. Why? Because we are all as a species, as a society, we're reinforcing it. We're like, oh yeah, this is all that is. Like, you can't tell me that it's not. But of course, that's just it's an illusion, you know? Time is just an illusion, or not time, sorry. This waking dream is an illusion. That was what I was talking about. Hmm. I love your perspective though, Sane. Or S4IN. 32. You seem to have definitely gone on some interesting experiences, like some interesting, yeah, shifts. Which we love here. We love that on this channel. We love altered states. 1% is perceived by the senses. That's exactly it, Benet. That's exactly it, brother. That's what studying lucid dream literally tells us, like, transparently. It's like the sensory restrained experience is the material world. The sensory restrained experience. And that is, yeah, we're reinforcing this world with our senses, with our 6 senses that we can identify. It's like, this is our sensory restrained experience. What I taste, what I see, what I feel, what I smell, yeah, what I hear. Exactly. It's all the sensory experiences. But as a lot of the ancient lucid dreamers try to express, is we're not our sensory experience. We're just limited by it. There's a much deeper web of sensory experience that is achievable. It's literally clear. It's literally been proven. But a lot of us, of course, we don't access that regularly. But it's still there. It's still there. Super beautiful though. The moment you accept yourself, you become beautiful. And Osho has so many beautiful quotes. Like, I didn't even really try to just like dive into. I mean, I have lots of respect for Osho. Read a lot of his books, but it's so fun to come back to his quotes and be like, whoa, like Osho, you're just saying like the moment you accept yourself, you become so beautiful. It's like, yeah, brother. It's like Osho is just dropping philosophy, like beautiful philosophical truths, left, right, and center. He's just like such an insightful fellow, or was an insightful fellow. No, but so thank you so much, brother. Sign for sharing your for sharing your perspective. S4IN32. Appreciate you, my guy. So man-made things push us further. Pull us or push us further from being in sync with the one energy. Because they are brains. We are not actually even with our eyes. We are not even seeing with our eyes. Yeah. That's a powerful point. I mean, yeah, yeah. You know, it's the same thing. Like I've spoken this once or twice, which obviously I'm sure many of you have the same sort of conclusion. We're human beings, right? We have human facilities. We're limited by our human facilities. Like I remember I was on a lot of mushrooms. I was like after I did a lot of mushrooms, I was at work the next day explaining this to my friend who never did mushrooms, and she was just like asking me, she's just like, "What do mushrooms feel like? Like, what do you think you learned from mushrooms?" And, and I remember like going off on this long tangent because at this workplace I basically just packaged CBD dog treats and didn't really have to work most of the day. And I basically was on mushrooms, like I did a microdose, and I was telling her, I was like, yeah, basically, if we really think about this, like, if you really think about it, we're human beings. We have human facilities, you know, human biological facilities, right? Human belief systems, human psychological models, right? Human neurological models. We have all these human facilities, and we're limited by them. Like, that's it. How can we understand that the greater paradoxes of the universe, the greater paradoxes of this reality, are way beyond the human facilities? Like, we just have to accept that. It's like, it's what the ancient Taoists are literally telling us. You know, the ancient Taoists, a lot of the ancient philosophers are like, oh yes, what is beyond the mind? Like the actuality of what is beyond the mind, because the mind is a human facility. It's limited. And we can only make sense of things again with our human facilities, with our human conceptions, with our human, you know, deduction, our human reason, our human whatever. It's like, it's all that. It's all connected to our human brain is wired to perceive things. But naturally, of course, like there's so much more. A lot of the most beautiful, exquisite paradoxes of the universe are way beyond the human facilities. And we just got to accept that. That's where we got to be like, well, we don't know shit. Like, it's like, okay. It's like we thought we knew, but we don't. And that's okay. Like, let's not try to pretend that our brains can see all these deeper things. But then that's when we get to honor, you know, these deeper things that we can sort of make sense of or experience that are somehow beyond this human facility or these human facilities. Recent research in physics proposes that time may have three dimensions. So mirroring the three dimensions of space. This theory is proposed by the physicist Guthner Kiesavishika, I probably botched that, of the University of Alaska. So physician. Shout out physicians. Shout out Guthner, that's beautiful. So we're saying that recent research in physics proposes that time may have... I actually remember coming across an article that actually expressed this. I didn't read a lot into it or think much of it. So it may have three dimensions, mirroring the three dimensions of space. That checks out, I suppose. Like, we're like a simulation inside of a simulation. It's like, So the three dimensions, that is time. The three dimensions. Yeah, wow. That's something I gotta sit with. Again, I haven't done my cold plunge of the day, and I've been sick the last 24 hours, so my brain's not as sharp as it usually is. I mean, I'm obviously I still have a brain in my head, but but I really like that. I'm gonna sit with that, brother. I'm gonna sit with that. I really like that. I really enjoy that that thought. Thank you for sharing. My life is so crazy, complex. It's easier to believe it's not real. Well, that is the beauty, Mom Handle, is like, I mean, I feel you. We're 3D. We're in this 3D reality. Like, this 3D reality is intense. Like, damn, like, I think about this a lot. My last 48 hours have actually been really intense. You know, I've been sick. I've found myself I haven't been able to do cold plunges because my immune system has been dropped and my psychological state has been kind of like all over the place. But truthfully, isn't it so beautiful? Like, you know, I think I talked about this before in a previous stream to you, actually. But it's so beautiful. You know, isn't it so beautiful to think that if life is like so overwhelming, it's like life is complex, it's unbearable even to some degree. Isn't it so beautiful to be like, but wait, ancient lucid dreaming, ancient, models of basically understanding the quantum does tell us that this is all a dream. Like, this is a dream. It's okay that this is complex, that this is chaotic, that this world is so, you know, it's so insane to some degree. It's because this is all an illusion. Like, this is actually not meant to be taken seriously. It's like we are naturally beings from, these higher dimensions. We're here to integrate all this, but in the deepest right, it's a beautiful, exciting truth to unravel it that this is all a dream. This is all an illusion. Some people could, like, when they hear that, that shatters their world. Like, wait a second, you're telling me the material world is not real? This material world isn't actually that pivotal? It's actually not the most, important thing in all this reality for manifesting life? Like, people, like, this is the weirdest part about it, is a lot of people, and I remember thinking about this a lot when I was reading a lot of this book, there's a lot of people that devote their entire lives to achieving material resource. You think about it. Someone that's maybe like a lawyer, a corporate lawyer, or some sort of stockbroker or something, right? They're literally devoting their life to attaining material resource. And obviously, we got to accept resource to some degree, money to some degree. It's a brilliant tool. But if you're going to pretend like you're going to live in an illusion or a delusion that the material world is so real because everyone's telling you, oh yeah, you want the material stuff, you got to achieve more material wealth, you got to achieve more material substance, you got to reinforce this hallucination all day long. When someone tells you that, wait a second, but what if the actual deeper underlying context of how things are manifesting and how things are operating is actually outside the material world? That shatters the delusion of a lot of people. People that are like fixated on the material, that have devoted their lives to the material. That is a really difficult pill to swallow, to be like, hey, like, guess what? The deeper context of how things actually are is outside the material. These material things you're trying to hold on to and pretend like that is such a extraordinary domain. Well, that's not necessarily real. It's an illusionary thing. It doesn't hold as much weight as you think it is. Society will reinforce and tell you, oh no, but this is what you want. This is what will fulfill you. This is what will, yeah, give you XYZ. But it's bizarre when these spiritual truths crack that model open and be like, wait a second, this material thing you've devoted your life to chasing endlessly, what if disconnected and reconnected? But anyways, that's where my mind went with that when I read about, these lucid dream philosophies of being like, yeah, wait a second. So if the material world is only a tiny fragment, this is all an illusion, what an exciting, beautiful thing for those of us that maybe are overwhelmed and, heavily addicted and fixated on the material world. We can take a fresh breath of air and be like, wait a second, this is all an illusion. This is all a dream. You have profoundly more influence on your reality than you could ever imagine. And that is a hard pill to swallow for those that are so heavily living in this material world, where they're just like, oh no, but I have to live in the material. It's like that's all that is. It's like when you tell them, oh wait, there's something deeper, it's going to be like extraordinarily difficult for them to process. But anyway, that's a stream of thought that I remember going on. And yeah, that's, as a guy that deeply loves that which is beyond the material world. Like, I remember for many years, without going on too deep of a tangent, I remember as a teenager, I always looked at my life and I was like, I would call this, it's basically what I would call it, tangible versus the non-tangible. Everyone was telling me as a teenager, like, you should be, grinding, making money, like working a 9 to 5, building, maybe going to school, building a career of this, which is, some degree, nothing wrong with saying that. But I remember looking at myself and be like, but what if I just master the art of playing guitar? What if I train martial arts for several years? What if I master the art of dancing? Like, these aren't things that most people will put a material value on. They won't put a price tag and be like, congratulations, you've, spent 10, 15 years in guitar. A lot of people, they won't, when they look at you, they won't see this on your material, inflection. They won't be like, oh wow, you've achieved that. But these are non-material things. These are intangible things. And as a teenager and growing into a young adult in my 20s, I began to see this very direct distinction basically towards the things that money can never buy, the intangible. And this actually directly correlates with, understanding the non-material. Is like,
There are things that money cannot buy, things that are priceless. You know, it's to devote 10, 15, 20 years of your life to an art form, to a master, begin to get to degrees of mastery, maybe do that to any given practice ever. Those are things that are intangible. You can't, put a price tag on that, and you can't tell someone, oh yeah, this is what you will gain from this, but it has value, right? It has a profound amount of value. And I think this is a very important thing to understand is there are many things in life that are intangible, that have extraordinary value, but we don't necessarily reinforce the value of these in society. Like society tells you, oh, this tangible thing is what you want. You want this tangible thing. You want this tangible reward. But the idea is, what about the intangible? Like, what about the things that you can't necessarily even understand how valuable they are? You can't even try to quantify them. I mean, you can in some regard, but as a dude that devoted like most of my life to the intangible, looking back, it's like, man, there's a lot to learn from that. Anyways, fair enough, brother. No, feel free to dip out. It's been, I think it's been 2.5, maybe it's like 2.5 plus hours. I should probably put it close to the stream and go do my cold plunge, eat some food, do some qigong. Just kind of just nourish my body. Cause yeah, being sick the last like 48 hours, I think too, my body needs some extra downtime. But yeah, I strongly believe in, again, a lot of these dimensions. Honor the non-physical, or honor the non-material. Recognize that there are certain things in this world that influence our reality very deeply. And there's more and more research that is coming out in this modern world that is reinforcing this. This is basically what I'm speaking of, is very closely aligned with a lot of what Joe Dispenza speaks of. Understanding the quantum, understanding how we reprogram our emotional felt experience, and etc. and etc. It goes off in so many different directions, but it's just like when you begin to sort of like understand what is really powerfully shifting and influencing your life, you'll see you have more power than you could possibly imagine. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful truth. Amazing. Anyways, thank you for listening to my long ass TED Talk tangents. I mean, you don't have a choice, but it's like, again, I've had a difficult 48 hours because I've been sick and kind of like low spirits. But this is what I do. This is what I do when I'm like going through difficult times. I play guitar and I talk about philosophy endlessly. That's literally what I do. It's great. It's great. So I'm like going off in deeper tangents than usual. But that being said, yeah, every word I stand behind strongly. Yeah. So time is just the vibration, manifested material, 1%. Yeah, I love, man, what a brilliant perspective. Again, I spoke of this very openly yesterday, where I'm very grateful for the type of minds that this community has been attracting. Like, very interesting. I'm looking forward to connecting more and just like building into this. So, yeah, peace is the goal. My life is no one would believe me. And peace is the goal. I think, like, I like to intellectualize in these streams. Sometimes, often, just my life. I love to really lean into the inner logician, if you will. And yeah, doing these streams, being a YouTuber, reinforces that often. But of course, there's certain things that I think, obviously are way outside the human mind. Like sitting in a forest, just doing nothing, just doing qigong, rooting yourself in your body. Like, this is often why I go and dance a lot. If my life is going through a lot, often I look at my life objectively and be like, you know what? There's probably an invitation in my reality that's literally just requesting me to slow down, honor stillness, and honor the nonverbal. Just connect with my body through dance, connect with other human beings through movement, through dimensions of movement and strength training. And that's been another parallel. It's like I've been having to put off going to the gym because I've been sick these last couple days. And that's no bueno. Dude, check into the people on DMT looking at lasers. They're seeing in code. Multiple people seeing in code in the light. I 1000%. I mean, bro, even when you just do DMT, like I've never done freebase, but I've done Changa, quite a few times. And yeah, DMT is easily like it is opening a portal to seeing things that I believe are very real experiences. Like obviously part of it is like a hallucinatory realm where we're seeing like colors and beautiful vibrant shapes, but if we observe at all what Terence McKenna, his studies of going deep in DMT is, Terence McKenna speaks very openly that he strongly believes that the DMT place is basically, it's like an exosphere, if you will, if we're going to use that word. It's like a separate realm that is very like solidified. It's not just like a collective, shared hallucination. There are elements of the DMT realm that is an actual place. Like this is a place that we go to, which I think is super cool. So it makes sense that like when we're processing what the DMT experience is sharing to us or showing us, it surely is something that is giving us real information. Like we're downloading a very true thing. A sober mind can conquer all. True, yeah. I mean, yeah, I've been sober for 11 years. I mean, I do shrooms every once in a while, but sobriety is like transformed. It's life-changing. It's very life-changing. Welcome, Maria. Osho, Carl Jung. Brilliant talkers, yeah. Peace out, brother. Be well, be well. Appreciate you sharing your perspective. Again, I'm probably gonna take a break myself, probably the next 5 minutes or so. Just reconnect, do a cold plunge, connect with some beautiful felt experience. I felt very connected to Shanyamurti. Many years as a guru. Interesting. I'm gonna type into, I don't know if that guy will even pop up on Google, but I'm curious. I'm gonna kind of take down that name. No, that's not typing. That's not doing anything. Word, actually, yeah. With that, I'll definitely leave the next 5 minutes because I'm gonna head down to the UPS drop-off point and pick up my new hat that I got handmade. I've been excited for this hat for weeks. Shanyamurti. About Shanyamurti. Okay, so he's Graham Hancock. So it's his Free Your Ego Prison, Shanyamurti Wisdom Teaching. Who is Shanyamurti? Very interesting. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing, my friend. Yeah. Boy, why thank you. I live a very interesting reality, I must say. And we have lots of wise individuals on here. I mean, I'm not as young too as I look. I'm 31, but I feel young. I am young in a deeper sense, but yeah, I have to say part of the parallel of, the way my brain works, the way I, create music and do all these intricate things is I also live an intense reality. Like my life is pretty intense, It's like I've gone through a lot, I've had to really authentically embrace a lot, and it's definitely shaped me into who I am, and I love it. But yeah, life is wild. I'm also attracted to the people who land on your stream. Honestly, well, even these last few days, like I love everybody on the stream, but it's like the streams as a whole. But it's bizarre to see the last few days where I've been like, just having casual streams, like usual thing, putting out some good music, and then it's just the algorithm has been like, hey, like let's bring some really insightful individuals. I feel very grateful for it. I'm here, beautiful friend. I love the Buddha, the feeling. Amazing. Amazing. So grateful, so grateful. And people seeing the same type of entities. Yeah, it really is. It's astonishing. Like I've never again done freebase DMT, and again I have to say, I don't know. I think these streams they're a safer parallel, but I know for a fact I don't want to get like low key shadow banned because I'm constantly talking about like compounds and etc. etc. and etc. But yeah, I mean I don't think DMT is. It's not like we're not talking about like crazy illicit compounds, but yeah. I'm curious of how that unravels, because I would hate to get lose monetization rights or something in the future, because I'm talking about DMT. Even though I love talking about DMT, like I think that's an important thing to talk about. Yeah, but absolutely, there's something deeper going on. Like Terrence McKenna was onto something. He's an extraordinary human. He lived a very interesting life, but I don't know if we all should do what Terrence did. But what a guy. Pretty smooth, pretty smooth, pretty smooth, pretty smooth. It's like opening a spectrum of light that you would not normally see because we only see the very portion of the spectrum. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's yeah. Ah, brother, I could literally talk about like just that the philosophical nature and the essence of DMT, like what is occurring in the experience. Like I've only had maybe 20, maybe 20 DMT experiences, and I'm talking about Changa. So it's not like freebase. I'm not plunging into the breakthrough realm. I've never broken through, truthfully. I've gotten maybe close, but I do Changa. It's very gentle. It's DMT, so it's like you enter the realm, you enter the chrysanthemum, the waiting room. That's as far as I go, but very beautiful experience. Very, very profound. There's a lot to learn. Even just sober reality. I haven't done DMT probably for like a year and a half or something, but I reflect on it often. I sit there, I talk about it often. I have these conversations with like my partner and friends, and be like, yo, like Changa taught me this about fear and perception of the human condition and blah blah blah. It's like DMT is such a powerful philosophical tool, without a shadow of a doubt. At least for those that are philosophical, and people are seeing the same type. And so that she has a blood test, or he or she has a blood test tomorrow. I'm scared. I mean, there's nothing to fear about needles. You just gotta breathe. Gotta breathe through it. Just honor your body. I don't know. I've done DMT, yeah, but not freebase. So there's freebase, which is just pure beige powder crystalline DMT, and then there's Changa, which is basically it takes DMT soaked herbs. So it takes MAOIs, which are usually like harmala alkaloids or whatever, and they take bovine, and then sometimes they soak it in freebase DMT, but it's a very different structure. Basically, one is harmonized with MAOIs. It's actually similar to what ayahuasca is. Ayahuasca is taking an MAOI inhibitor like tribulus, and tremala alkaloids or whatever it's called. Maybe I'm botching that. And they combine it with the bovine or whatever their DMT mixture is. And basically, Changa is smokable ayahuasca. It's a similar concoction, but it's you smoke it instead of taking it orally. So I've never done freebase. Make sure you don't become schizophrenic. I'm pretty sure I'm not at risk, but I appreciate that wholeheartedly. Like I appreciate that. Unfortunately, I've sat with DMT a number of times with great reverence. Like I'll be honest, when I do Changa ever, I spend multiple hours preparing myself, if not days. I do this with all psychedelics. I spend the day, writing music, doing meditative practice, training, sitting in the forest, reflecting. Like I go deep. I treat all psychedelic experiences with a deep reverence. And yeah, never in my life actually I've ever had any sort of schizophrenic type thing, fortunately. Like, and I'm not sure. I think I'm not an expert, but I think it's a genetically acquired thing. Like if I would have had been a predisposition to schizophrenia or something of that nature, it would have unraveled, when I did like 5-6 grams of mushrooms when I was younger. But my brain's just, it's not predispositioned. But that being said, the caveat of what I'm saying is always honor these compounds, always honor these medicines. I know many people that unfortunately do not, for whatever reason, and they probably do this, with many different substances, they don't honor the sacred boundaries of these compounds, and they are surely worse off for this. And with that, like, I think people that actually do have a disposition or a predisposition to schizophrenia probably should not be doing DMT, unfortunately. Like, they really, I mean, I don't know. I know friends actually that have, I actually have a good friend of mine he has many different mental disorders. Phenomenal human being, genius artist. I love the dude. And he did way too much DMT actually in a period of his life. And he was also on a experimental medication. And unfortunately, this like changed his mental state for years. Now he's okay. Like it's been many years. He's gone off this medication. He stopped using DMT. Now he's a normal human being. I see him all the time. But for many years, he literally was a completely different person, sadly. And I don't know. Again, I'm not. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. I met a person who was a psychonaut. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, many people are psychonauts. It's a beautiful life choice. Learn music theory and scales. Words to live by, yeah. Words to live by. We all should eventually learn music theory and scales. Prepare yourself to be inspired. Just hit click. Word. I think I missed what you were speaking to. You could already hit click on Rio de Janeiro, Emmanuel Gardner. Literally give it 5 seconds. She'll be like, oh, now I understand why you want me to listen to it. Very nice. Don't look. Yes. Very nice. Great advice, Bodhi. Play some phenomenal music. Play some phenomenal music while you're drawing blood, and I'm sure, yeah, it's wise words. Placebo is a level of schizophrenia. We all see reality so differently. I have a schizophrenic mate, but he sees levels in almost everything. Obsessions, and almost everyone obsesses. Obsessions. Interesting. I could see that. We all have like acute levels of some sort of like mental pathology that don't really hit maybe the extreme spectrums. I've heard that before. Again, I'm not an expert on these things, but I'm just speaking from an extreme parallel of, what I was just reflecting a moment ago. A good friend of mine who actually is like very much diagnosed schizophrenia, like quintessential fellow that has, has the disorder, but he's also a very brilliant artist, very phenomenal human being. I've known him for many years. Great human being. And I saw this guy go through a period of his life. Like, he was going to raves, probably using substances that are illicit, but he also used a lot of DMT. And I remember talking to him many times when he was in this phase, and he was also on an experimental medication for treating his mental disorder. And yeah, it changed who he was for like 4 years of his life. Now, fast forward, this has been like 4 or 5 years since this period, he's a completely different dude. He's happier, he's normal, he's a phenomenal human being. So it's almost like that's a direct testament of my life of how important it is to honor your own sort of a mental state, your mental pathologies in relation to how this can, amplify or perpetuate it via something like DMT. It's like if you're a person that has maybe zero mental pathologies, or if just none that really conflict with some of DMT, still you need to revere these compounds. Still, it's like you 1000% can lose your grasp on reality if you're not like reverent, if you're not honoring the sacred application of these compounds. Like, it's a thing, you may hear this once or twice and you think, maybe that's almost like some sort of borderline hippie belief system, which I think is brilliant. Hippie belief system is amazing, but it's true. It's absolutely true. Like, you can honor everything with a sacred reverence. You know, things, medicine like magic mushrooms or something like mescaline, even things like, I don't use marijuana, but there's many people that I know that believe marijuana has a very sacred energy when you honor it. I haven't done marijuana again for like 10 years, but I really believe this, you know? Hmm. World out there alone, traveling the first time I traveled. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Just, I think, I think the auto voice thing just looped you, brother. Oh yeah, I enjoy marijuana. Sweet, yeah. Yeah. I know friends that do. I honestly am not a fan of using marijuana anymore. I think it's not the move. I think you and your mind a solid place, or at least what you perceive to be solid. Hmm. Yeah. And a person or 22 monitor you. It's exactly that. I agree, Bodhi. It's the way I see something like DMT is obviously like all psychedelics, but DMT especially, it's the most potent psychedelic. It's amplifying your mental state. So if you're in a grounded state, you're self-aware, you're feeling, psychologically and philosophically rooted, you feel good, you feel happy, you're surrounded by good energy, and yeah, you take it with an intelligent, almost like scientific approach. Where like I'm entering this experience to learn, to be curious and open to what is here. 1000%. You will more than not experience a very powerful, healthy, healing experience. And of course, if you're not in any of those states, like, you are feeling fragmented, you're feeling, lost, turmoilic, split off from these deeper sacred realms of the self, then 1000% it's going to translate very differently. You're going to have a very different experience from someone who is just grounded, surrounded by good people, has an open mind and an open heart. It's very bizarre. DMT is I think a lot of people don't really necessarily understand how powerful it is. Like not even in the sense of what it does for 10, 20 minutes. No, it's there's a sacred connection to it. And yeah, it's like almost like the more prepared, the more you're really intentional with this experience, then the more it can beautifully translate. And if that's not present, then you're basically just abusing the experience. Yeah. It's very interesting though. When's the next time I'm gonna be on? I mean, I'm probably gonna pop off in the next 5 minutes. I'm probably gonna go to the gym, do some stuff, do some cool plunges. Probably about 7 o'clock. I think so 7 o'clock in 3 hours. I'll probably do another stream for like another couple hours. Again, I've been sick for the last like 48 hours. Hopefully, I'll feel better the next day or so. But usually, I like to do like 2 to 3 streams a day. 2 to 3 streams a day, because I'm kind of grinding them out to try to get to 4K watch hours. But yeah, should be back at about 7 o'clock. I believe that too. I grow cannabis from the seed to harvest, and I believe there's a way to plant. It's cared for and affected. I agree. I think I agree with that so much, brother. It's like that's what I like to see, and that's where when I try to understand people's relationship with, say, cannabis, yeah, like marijuana, it's like it can be a sacred experience. It can be harvested sacredly. It can be such a powerful healing experience. For me, I used marijuana from ages 16 or 15 to about 19, like every single day, 4 times a day, progressively. And yeah, when I was a kid, I surely did not have like a sacred connection to the medicine, like not even remotely. And I feel like there is a sacred connection you could form with something like marijuana. Well, I think you already know the answer to that, Floyd. I mean, it's like we are what we believe. If you believe that that's a silly sort of conception, you believe that that's not a reality, then of course that's reinforced. Quantum particles, quantum theory will tell us anything that you believe it is and it is not. It's so. It's a neutral entity. So if you really believe that, then of course that's your reality. No one can tell you that's not the truth. But if there's people that have the belief that there is other dimensions, that there is something deeper, and then they've seen this reinforced in their experience infinitefold, then it is so. Both realities are true. Truth is not one dimensional. Hmm. I don't know, bro. I'm gonna agree to disagree, but it's okay. Like again, We're this is an open portal. You know, this is an open portal. Play a song. What about dreams? What about dreams? That's nice. If there was, I don't know, I won't really speak on it. No. That's fair, dog. Again, I stand behind the infinite nature of how we reinforce things, right? It is and it isn't. You know, that's just when you walk into a pool, check out that song. I'll check it out, brother. I'm gonna pop that in my infinite rabbit hole of random links and recommendations on YouTube. But I'm happy to have these. Like, honestly, it's like, so will you walk into the pool? Will you walk into the pool? A lot of songs that kind of sit in that realm. Whether we're walking, then it's giving me, okay, it's not giving me songs. It's giving me recommendations of why I shouldn't walk into a pool. Okay, maybe I'll type this in, but after this, I'll probably do my quick outro and make my leave because I need to go pick up a hat from UPS before it gets dark. Will you walk into a pool? Okay, still more weird YouTube shorts about why I shouldn't walk into a pool. Who's the artist for this? Like, what the? Feeling crazy. I play like waterfalls and birds from the indoor plants. Like sounds of the birds in the dew. Huh. I play like waterfalls and birds. That's beautiful. I mean, some days when I'm literally just chilling here, I just play waterfall sounds. And, you know, bird sounds. Because, you know, who doesn't love the sounds of birds? Beautiful. Oof, very strong attack. That just comes to show, ladies and gentlemen, it's like, I spoke of this earlier on the stream, it's like, it's bizarre how, like, a unintentional attack, like, you know, be it if it's like slap harmonic, and you just overdo the attack, or you mess up a artificial harmonic, it can just sound just so trash. It just sounds like trash. It can ruin a composition so fast. That's why, like, technique is powerful. Anyways, thank you so much for chiming in. Yeah, I deeply appreciate you guys popping in here. Yeah, it's been a beautiful, beautiful stream. Been a beautiful, like, 2.5 hours. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Yes. Anyways, if this content resonates with you, feel free to follow this channel. Yeah, I teach guitar and I do meditative sound journeys among various things. Yeah. Thank you so much. Deeply appreciate you guys, and remember to honor yourselves and honor each other. Much love. Bless.